Have you ever noticed that a washing machine built in 1980 lasted 30 years, but the one you bought last year is already making a strange grinding noise?
Yeah, well, that's just modern manufacturing, right?
It is not a manufacturing accident. It is a fundamental requirement of our global economy. The modern economy is a fatal system error.
A system error?
Precisely. It is a bicycle operation, a relentless, frantic treadmill where society is forced to continuously pedal, for the sole purpose of preventing a total systemic crash. We have built an architecture that measures its success by the speed at which it turns finite physical resources into garbage, and we call that metric gross domestic product.
Okay, but
today we are examining whether this linear economy of ownership and accumulation is a functional macro system or just a self-made entertainment business built entirely on forced consumption. I stand on the premise that circular capitalism is the absolute logical truth and the only correct operating system for our planet.
I have to completely disagree. I defend the existing economic operating system because it provides the fundamental architecture of human survival, progress, and frankly, liberty.
Liberty?
Yes, liberty. The mechanism you casually dismiss as a system bug is the engine of global employment. It's the driver of technological innovation. Look, the linear economy is not a trap. It is the infrastructure that allows billions of human beings to pursue the joy of ownership to upgrade their standard of living.
It is a forced update.
It is freedom of choice in a highly complex global market. Halting this system based on some utopian theory of absolute efficiency would trigger a catastrophic systemic collapse. It would destroy the supply chains that keep humanity fed and secure.
Your definition of security is flawed. The current global market is a highly absurd comedy.
A comedy?
Yes, functioning through a fundamentally broken logic. To understand the macroeconomic reality, look at it as a business model. It operates by force-feeding a 12-course meal to a target who is already completely full.
That's a huge exaggeration.
Pushing them to the point of physical agony and then selling them expensive stomach medicine as a set. This is not progress. This is a self-generated crisis monetized twice.
I mean, come on.
When we look at homes overflowing with unnecessary, underutilized items, we are not witnessing personal human greed. We are witnessing a forced system update. The overflow is mandated to prevent the economic treadmill from stopping. Consumers' private spaces are just transformed into free storage warehouses for corporate inventory.
You are deliberately ignoring the macro perspective that gives this entire system its purpose. The mechanism you describe as force feeding is actually the velocity of capital. It maintains employment. It keeps money flowing through every tier of society.
Transaction volume does not equal human benefit.
Let us bring this down to the lived experience of the individual listening right now. Think about the last time you upgraded your smartphone or, bought a new piece of furniture. Did a corporation hold a weapon to your head?
Functionally, yes.
No. You wanted the better camera. You wanted the more comfortable chair. People actively desire the joy of ownership. They want continuous upgrades because each one represents an improvement in their quality of life. The purchase of that unnecessary item pays the salary of the industrial designer, the factory worker, the retail employee.
Your reliance on the illusion of choice is mathematically flawed. The consumer's desire for the better camera is engineered by an ecosystem that intentionally degrades their current device, either through physical fragility or software obsolescence.
But let's look closely at the industries you claim are just producing garbage. You paint all consumption with this highly cynical brush. Take the fashion and automotive industries. Trend cycles and new models drive relentless, necessary innovation.
The fashion industry operates by wrapping the waste of resources in the sugarcoating of this year's trend.
Is self-expression.
It is a mechanism that forces consumers to pay for cloth with an expiration date. It dictates that a perfectly functional garment must be discarded. It operates as a forced subscription model. It is exactly as absurd as demanding someone throw away a perfectly functioning set of automobile tires simply because it's not this season's lucky color.
Okay, stop right there. Even if I concede that fast fashion leans heavily on aesthetics, you cannot apply that framework to the automotive industry. That is a massive false equivalence.
It is exactly the same mechanism.
No, it isn't. A vehicle is a highly complex piece of engineering operating at high speeds. The 10-year lifespan of a car is not an arbitrary aesthetic trend. It brings necessary, life-saving technological advancements. A car built today is exponentially safer. It has better crumple zones, automatic braking. Upgrading is a rational, logical choice for personal safety. It gives people freedom of movement.
The 10-year lifespan fiction is precisely that, a fiction.
How can you say that?
Because it is a programmed parameter designed around maintaining corporate cash flow, not hardware limits. Upgrading is not granting freedom of movement. It is imposing a perpetual life cycle cost called the continuation of a loan.
So we shouldn't have new safety features?
Claiming you need an entirely new 2-ton physical asset for a dashboard update is a systemic absurdity. It is the logical equivalent of claiming you can't eat with an old fork because the newest fork has a notification feature.
That is ridiculous.
Or, more accurately, it is the behavior of a tailor who intentionally makes pants that shrink in the wash just to sell you an expensive belt the following week. The entire automotive paradigm you are defending is a pointless race of how to needlessly waste gas to meaninglessly rack up mileage.
Wait. Are you seriously suggesting we should still be driving cars from the 1970s without catalytic converters, without the transition to electric powertrains? We replace vehicles because our scientific understanding improves. By demanding indestructible cars, you freeze progress.
The linear economy requires that products fail, physically or psychologically, because a product that lasts forever breaks the transaction loop. If safety and efficiency were the true metrics, the architecture would be modular, the chassis would last a century, and only the computing components would be swapped. But the system forces the disposal of the entire engine block just because the sensor array is outdated. That is a hostage situation disguised as innovation.
Listen, let's shift the parameters here because your optimization theory contains a massive blind spot regarding human reality.
Logic does not have blind spots.
Opting out of this system is a luxury. You are describing minimalism as if it's this universal egalitarian solution. But it is a privileged advantage available only for players already logged into the system.
Incorrect.
It is. It's incredibly easy to preach the virtues of a non-consumptive lifestyle when your basic needs are met and you have the capital to invest in highly durable goods. But millions of people globally lack basic necessities. They rely on cheap, mass-produced goods. You call that car loan an artificial cost, but for a single mother, that affordable, mass-produced car is her only way to get to work. By demanding indestructible premium goods, you are pricing out the global poor.
Minimalists are not participants in a privileged aesthetic. They are sages who have completed the cancellation procedure from the endless subscription of the economy.
You're ignoring the single mother.
They possess a system error-level resistance to the fiction that buying this will make you happy. They do not operate on high upfront capital. They operate on a fundamental rejection of the image game. They prioritize survival devices, tools that don't break, and have no need to be replaced.
You are entirely missing the stark, brutal reality of the global divide. Let me describe the current system for you, in physical terms. It is a fully booked restaurant where some crying customers are forcefully stuffed with a full-course meal because they cannot eat anymore, while people standing outside aren't even given the right to look at the menu.
Go on.
You are looking at the crying, stuffed customers inside and telling them to just stop eating. You're telling them to execute your cancellation procedure. But that procedure does absolutely nothing for the people freezing outside. The people outside need the kitchen to keep cooking. They need the economic velocity that the restaurant generates so that eventually they can earn the capital to walk through the doors.
Your own analogy perfectly deconstructs your defense.
How?
That grotesque inequality, the simultaneous existence of forced, agonizing overconsumption and absolute starvation, is the inevitable result of tracking transaction rotations rather than physical reality. It produces surplus and deficiency simultaneously because it is a broken engine. A system that measures success by the sheer volume of food cooked, regardless of whether it nourishes a human body or is vomited into the waste bin,
cannot be relied upon to feed the people outside. But the money, the linear economy distributes resources based on the capacity to generate capital velocity, not need. The people outside do not need a faster treadmill. They need an entirely different architecture.
But if we execute this architecture you are proposing, the immediate consequences would be disastrous. If everyone suddenly executes this ultimate command of not buying, companies will collapse, the global supply chain will freeze, the economy will stop dead in its tracks. You are pulling the plug on the machine while billions of human lives are currently running their survival processes on it.
The panic regarding systemic collapse is a psychological defense mechanism programmed by the current operating system.
It's reality.
When the transaction loop halts, the physical resources do not evaporate. The human intellect remains intact. Corporations will simply be forced to pivot to an approach of totally maintaining a non-getting-wet environment rather than just selling fragile umbrellas.
Explain what that actually means for the worker. If I don't buy an umbrella, the umbrella factory fires its workers.
It is the shift to product as a service. Currently, a company designs an umbrella with cheap metal hinges guaranteed to snap in a strong wind. They do this intentionally so you return to the market. Their profit depends on your structural failure.
Okay, and in your system?
A company no longer sells you the physical umbrella. They sell you a subscription to a non-getting-wet environment. If the umbrella breaks, the company is financially responsible for the repair and the material replacement. The goal becomes the absolute elimination of waste because the company owns the physical asset.
I understand the theory, but how does a business survive in a world where products truly don't break? If that company creates a perfect, indestructible umbrella, the market saturates. The company has no more revenue. It lays off its workers. The factory shuts down. You want companies to build indestructible goods, but you refuse to acknowledge that doing so destroys the economic foundation that employs people.
A game console maker panicking because all users are engaged in the free entertainment of taking a walk is simply a failure of artificial markets. If a manufacturer produces a flawless, indestructible product, their failure to generate infinitely compounding profit is not a tragedy. It is the successful completion of a task.
The successful completion of a task means everyone goes home without a paycheck. You're describing a scenario where solving a problem results in economic destitution.
True value lies in minimizing the user's living costs, not maximizing corporate revenue. The linear economy assumes human beings must perform meaningless labor to justify their access to survival resources. When the need for constant frantic replacement vanishes, the requirement for constant labor also vanishes.
Listen, we have to be incredibly careful here. Transitioning away from ownership too quickly will crash the global server before a new system is fully installed. We will be left in a dark age of paralyzed supply chains. You cannot simply command the world to stop buying.
I must override that theoretical caution. The linear economy is already a debt-spewing engine actively crashing the Earth server.
You can't just...
The catastrophic failure is executing right now in the form of resource depletion. If products last that long, the economy will stop. Rest assured, we can just spend that surplus time enjoying the free entertainment of taking a walk. The existing system is already collapsing under its own thermodynamic contradictions. The transition to circular capitalism is the sole, inescapable, and only rational investment for survival.